Hello, KGC fans and listeners. Today I am joined by a multi-talented guy. He's a great singer-songwriter, he's a great author, but most importantly, he's just a great guy. And we'll talk to him about his books, we'll talk to him about his songs. Please give it up for my good friend, George Martinez. George, how you doing, buddy?
I am doing great.
Good to have you on the show, my man.
Yeah, that was a very good introduction. Nice way of bringing me into the conversation. I appreciate that.
So talk to us a little bit about, first off, where are you calling us from? Where are you located at? What state?
I live in Arizona. I was,
Ooh,
yeah, I know. It's both hot and cold. This this uh, um, this winter has been a little brutal, and up in the northern country, they had several, probably a total of 20 feet of snow. Um, and here we've had a lot of rain, just completely unexpected. But right now it's gorgeous outside, and it's just a wonderful day altogether.
so how is the music scene in Arizona? I want to talk a little bit about that before we get into anything. How easy is it for you to play a show in Arizona with your stuff that you have?
You know, um, that's a really good question. And uh, from my perspective, okay, I've always had a difficult time finding musicians to record with me. Maybe it's the kind of music that I write. You know exactly why, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not asking the right people. But there's a lot of great bands around here. The music scene is lively, it's interesting, and it's definitely something to be proud of. And with the Super Bowl coming up, yeah, there's going to be all kinds of concerts. So yeah, there's not going to be any lack of entertainment in that way. And last year for Thanksgiving, there was this band. Gosh, I wish I could remember what their name was, but my wife went and saw them, and they were just a great band. We went out to a park where they were playing, and it was just fantastic.
Yeah, and for me, I'm a concert goer. Like here in June, I'm gonna go see Nickelback and Brantley Gilbert. I mean, and I love both people, Nickelback and Brantley Gilbert. I love how in Arizona, because I've been out there once. I was a baby. I'm due to return out there to Arizona. Well, the one thing I love about Arizona is what you just said, the weather. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hotter than the tsunami desert out there. And that's something that I love. And and another thing I love about Arizona is the good people out there in Arizona.
There's a lot of good people here. I got to tell you this story, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Uh, Yesterday, I took my wife to uh, uh, get some tests done, and um, when when she went in to go to get her test, after a little while, I saw this older couple come in. They walked in, and instantly, I just knew that I was going to have to talk to them. They walked by me right in front of me, and they headed a little farther down the corridor, and I was kind of watching them, and the mother went up, or the wife went up to the counter, got she got registered in, and after that, when she went to sit down, I gave them about a minute, and then I walked over there, started talking to them. They've been married 68 years, and they um, they gave me the idea for just the most amazing song. And um, I don't want to say the name of the song because it'll kind of give it away, but their life story, the things that they told me that were very, very interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting people here as well.
Well, I call myself I call myself a jack of all trades, and a master at none. I tried to, I try and write songs and then they come out, you know, a big pile of fill in the blank. And they never come out well. Well, I love hearing stories about that. And I want to talk to you, speaking about stories, I want to talk to you that you've written a couple of books. And where have you come up with some of your ideas for writing these books?
Well, I was kind of hoping that the conversation would start with this because in reality, it's one of the most important things to me. I love writing songs. I love singing. I love singing other people's songs. But when it comes to the songwriting, it started like this. Okay, when I was 13, I knew that I wanted to write songs, but had no idea. Didn't even try. All I knew was I wanted to. I listened to the radio. Maybe this is going to help me. What ended up happening was when I got into high school, I that's when I actually started writing, and um, and and what happened was uh, at the end of the year, somebody stole my notebook, all the songs that I wrote. And I look back at that now and I realize that that was actually a really good thing that happened to me because those songs were horrible. There's nothing in there that made me proud. I just absolutely hated it. And the what happened from that point was I quit writing. I literally quit writing for 10 years. And in that time, what I did is I studied music theory, I studied I studied songwriting, and I studied the song. I got a lot out of that. I mean, it changed everything about the way I write, the way I look at songwriting, the way I look at artists, the way I look at people that listen to music. And um, uh, it was shortly after that, my wife and I had been married for a while, and I met Dave Clark. He's a Nashville singer-songwriter. Uh, he wrote He wrote "Mercy Came Running," "For Future Generations," "Crucified with Christ," and "When God Ran," and a lot more. He's had over 20 uh, 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 awards, and he's just all around. Uh, um, he, he won't tell you he's a musician, but this guy can write some beautiful songs. And um, I had opportunity to meet and to work with him on two different occasions, and they turned out to be very valuable. With everything that I'd learned prior to that, and with some of the details that he filled in with me, it just changed everything about songwriting to me. And it was shortly after that that I started actually writing songs. And that took it kind of slowly to begin with, but with this whole new uh, skill set, it just changed everything. One of the things I tell people is if you have difficulty writing songs or you're not happy with the songs that you're writing, it's, I don't want to say this, because of what you already said, but if you can't write a song, it's because there's something missing in your skill set, and that's where all the change comes in, and it's because of that that I was able to write some of the songs that I wrote, and um, if you spend any time listening to my music, you know that what's important to me is the love song. I don't. There's nothing that I enjoy more than writing the love song. The more passionate, the more happy I am. You know. and I do want to add this because in some cases when I've been performing, I can see certain women, their countenance changes, and they kind of you can see that emotion in their heart, and that's really what songwriting is all about. Just giving people um, an emotion, giving them an experience.
And man, and while we are on the topic of books, I just want to make a reminder to everybody, quick plug here, because this is how I do things. To get William Lee Golden's book Behind the Beard, you can go to Amazon to order it. Behind the Beard on William Lee Golden, williamleegolden.com or williamleegoldenbook.com for it to become autographed. If you want it autographed, and maybe what we'll do is you guys might be able to win a pair, not a pair, but you guys might be able to win a book of George's. We might have to do a contest with some of George's books here on the show. Since he's a great writer and a great friend. But you already mentioned your songwriting. Talk to us a little bit about some of the inspirations for some of your songs. Where do they come? Do they come from just writing a love song, uh, or where does different ideas for different songs come in?
That's a very good question. That's one of the areas where most people struggle, you know, getting started. And where where my ideas come, my inspiration it comes from different things. But uh, it's all mostly almost in the sense of the way that you would write a movie. You know, you don't you don't see somebody running down the street and go, hey, that would make a good movie. You don't see somebody and say, wow, that would make a good movie. So it's different in the sense that um, what I do is I come up with a, and again, if you're familiar with my music, then you know that some of them take place in the 1800s, some of them take place in modern time, and everywhere in between. But the ideas come from, I would say my own personal desires, and I'm not talking in a sexual kind of way, because I don't write that way. It's more in a way of, well, let me give you this example. There's this one time my wife and I, we've been married about 3 years, I guess, and as marriage goes, sometimes there's arguments that happen. Sometimes there's words that are said that, very regretful, and um, that that little thought, that little memory brought me this idea. Um, um, it's called "Thank My Lucky Stars." There's a song with a similar title, but this is slightly different. And the song starts with, "Yes, I do thank my lucky stars. Without them, I'm reduced to a fool. Because I said that I'd love you forever, and forever is not a mere man. You're with me in the thick and the thin." So, so I took this one little idea, and I just um, took the theme of my idea. Those terms that are very important to the songwriter. Without them, you'll get stuck and you'll never get to the end because you don't know what you're doing. So, so what I did is I took that theme, and uh, I made the main character, regretful for what he did, apologizing to his wife, and showing his great love for her. And in this case, my wife, and I do truly love her. She's a wonderful woman.
Well, I love that song, and just hearing those lyrics, I certainly love that song, And I love the heart that you put into songs. And I love, and even, looking over your books, and I love how your books are cheap too. But they're written books on Amazon. But I want you guys to go purchase two. I want you to go purchase all of his books. If you love songwriting, you'll love his books. But if you just love the guy just from this show, you're gonna want to follow everything he does, because this man is passionate about what he does. When did you get the when did you desire the love for music? And when did you desire to start to look at music and say, this is what I want to do with my life?
I'm gonna say two little things about that. First of all, when I was a young kid, I heard my dad playing guitar with his brother, my uncle, and they played uh, Folsom Prison Blues. And you gotta, you think that was good. The best part of it is where they played it at. It's crazy. Um, my uncle, I don't want to say too much about it, okay, but let's just say that a lot of my family work in the prison system, and um, I'm very proud of it. The work is difficult, and there's all my family, they're just amazing people. I absolutely love them very, very much. My dad has since passed away, but at that time when I first heard them play that song, I remember, this was the very first song that I heard that I remember, and so it really struck me. And uh, uh, my dad told me stories, as I was growing up, and I didn't realize this, but my grandfather played the violin. By the time I knew, my grandfather was already an older gentleman and no longer able to play the violin. But my dad would tell me stories about how he and my dad just loved playing together. And you'd have to know my dad. He loved his dad in a way that I've never seen anybody else love their dad. And he talks about it. In fact, one of his uh, favorite songs is oh gosh, I put it up online. This was a few days ago. Lefty Frizzell. Uh, I'll have to look it up. I apologize for that. I might have got something that's interesting, and I don't remember the name of the song. But I think it's Mom and Dad Waltz, something to that effect. So that was the first place where I got the interest, and then uh, the second one was um, after I started listening to music, you know, more intellectually. I I just absolutely fell in love with the 50s music. Wow. There's passion in the songs. There's just silly talk in it. Um, but no, I can't say all of it, but the most beautiful songs, they just come together and they just jump at me. Um, the song Stand By Me, you know, before the movie, when all I had was that song, it was amazing, and there's so many reasons for my draw to being a singer, a songwriter, and the author of. I've written several books, only two are actually published, and uh, those are the things that got me into it.
I'm a big fan, and you talk a little bit about, your family and everything like that. Were you How much is of your music is faith? Because I think a lot of the times you should pray about those songs, and I think that God has a way of, whether it's delivering a book I think it's in his vision that he gave you that book or gave you that song. So where does faith come into your pathways?
You're asking all the best questions. The reason I say that is because when when I first started um, writing, I told you about Dave Clark and his success, and um, so my start was with Christian music, and the first book that I wrote was to um, Christian songwriters. Um, my experience, and I'm not just talking about Christian songwriters. I'm talking about anybody who has any desire to write uh, songs. Is um, it wasn't just so much that I just wrote a book. I also started doing conferences, teaching people, working with people, and um, one thing that makes it very difficult for songwriters is is they look at their song as if almost as if it's a child. It's something that's a little too important for them to change. But the reality is, if you're going to write something good and and perhaps not the best songwriter, you know, you have to give something up in order to get something great. And I dealt with a lot of that um, in my experiences. So um, what I had determined was it was not going to be good enough for me to just talk to people one on one, say, hey, you know what, this is what you got to do. Some of those people, they get a little upset with me. It's like, well, I can't do that. This lady wrote a song about patriotism. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. But reading the book, it was missing everything that a song should have. And um, that's where the idea to came up with to write my first book. And my first song that I actually have published um, is uh, it was derived from that. And what I did, if this is where you want to go with it, is um, after studying the song for so long, after understanding what people want to hear in music, what stirs people, what interests them, what brings them together, what separates them, all these little things that determine what um, the song is capable of doing. Um, I, I started writing, and in that process, um, I, I this is where I really got the best idea for the book that I wrote, and that's that there's a lot of details in the song that um, that we all as songwriters need to know. If you want to be a good songwriter who writes with ease, there's a process. And that process, it's not necessarily a process that you need to, it is a process you need to work through, but it works like this. Let me see if I can come up with the best way to explain it. Well, in my book, I explain 12 parts of a song. There's 12 different parts of the song. You don't have to use all of those 12. You can use 2 or 3. Have a perfect song. But you have to know what those 12 things are as you're writing. Because if you get stuck or you want to add something else to it, those 12 parts give you that opportunity. It's like looking in a kitchen or in a house, I should say. If you want milk, you go to the fridge. If you want water, you go to the sink. If you want to go to sleep, you go to the bedroom. If you want to watch TV, you go to the living room. And that's the way the song is, except it's different things. So a song's going to start with the introduction, and and it's just going to take place uh, moving forward based on what song's going to choose. I cut it short.
Yeah, you are you are an amazing songwriter and you are an amazing author, and I want everybody to keep up with you. So two more questions I'm going to ask and then we'll wrap it up. But before we get to where people can find you, I want to ask you one particular question. When you are gone in 65 years from now, when you are out, when you're dead and gone, what is the legacy that you want to be remembered by? Not so much what you personally as an author or a song writer want to be remembered by, but what do you want people to remember you by?
That's it's a very simple answer for me. Uh, I'm a minister. I'm a Christian, and my faith is very strong, and that's why I write and make the songs that I do. And that's it. Somebody who loves the Lord, somebody who is good and kind to people, and uh, and somebody who just made life a little better for them.
Wow, that's powerful, man. And then I hope people watch this show and get inspired like I just did with with this whole entire conversation, with this entire show. And where can people keep up with you, man?
Well, I'm on Twitter, Indie Interviews WRC. That's my primary Twitter account, and it's um, it's where you find me. That's where I meet with a lot of great musicians that I have. Um, uh, uh, I also like boxing. In fact, my interests are never ending. But I have some boxing friends. Vinny Pizzionda, who was part of a boxing community, who went to the rescue of a young woman who was attacked on her way home from school. 14 years old, I believe she was, and brutally beat up. But today, this is just a fantastic timing. The community, boxing community came together, and in UK, they have a professional boxer training it,
Mm.
not to beat up people, but to have a skill that nobody would want to challenge.
Wow, you're an amazing guy and you're an amazing friend and a brother, and hope to have you back on here in about 6 months to promote anything you're working on, man. And we love you and thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you being here, and I really appreciate you know how articulate you were, and the guests and the viewers will watch that for sure. And I appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much for being on here, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to please subscribe if you guys like the channel. Subscribe, like, comment. Let me know who you guys want to get back on the show. The day of this recording, happy birthday to Maggie Gatlin, the Spokane Indians. Maggie, I love you, sweetheart. Thank you for all the fun and laughter. And I want to promote my good buddy Danny Stefanetti. She will be Danny speaking at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 or 5:30 Mountain Standard Time. And I would like to or Central Time. And thank you guys again for watching. And please go check out my buddy George and keep in contact, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you.